But still very, very nice heading into Saturday. Sunday, we start to see some changes, but they're changes that are going to be much needed and much appreciated. 62 degrees right now with a dew point of 52. Not quite as dry as we were earlier, but still feeling relatively comfortable outside right now. Gorgeous look here at our tower cam, of course, which looks right toward the city of Charlotte. Tomorrow morning, fantastic forecast. We're looking at the low to mid 50s to start, very quickly warming up to near 60 degrees by 9 and 10, upper 70s by the afternoon. Of course, big events across the Charlotte area this weekend. 49ers are at home, App State's at home, Charlotte FC's at home. But tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock, the Charlotte Vision Walk occurring there down at OMB in Ballantyne for the Foundation Against Fighting Blindness. So if you're interested in coming out, that again, a walk starts at 10 o'clock. I'll be there emceeing the event. High pressure overhead, keeping things calm and clear now. But eventually by Sunday, we are going to be watching a cold front roll through the region. This is going to bring us a small chance of rain. And that's the much needed part, because we are desperately in need of rain because of our drought conditions. Now, before it arrives, it is going to cause portions of the upper Midwest and the South to see some really significant severe weather risk for this time of year. Eastern Texas all the way toward western parts there of Kentucky, Tennessee, northern parts there of Mississippi, Alabama, and of course you can see even southern Illinois and parts of the Ohio River Valley. So again, before it gets here, it is going to cause some issues for other portions of the country. Make sure if your friends or family live there, you're letting them know. At least by the time it gets to us, while we are going to see that small chance of rain, the severe weather risk is 0 in the Carolinas. But coming up, we're going to take a look at that timing and how much rain I realistically think we could get. That's coming up, Nick.
All right, thank you, Brittany.
Another big match for Charlotte FC at the Bank. Temperatures for tailgating pretty warm in the lower 80s, but we will drop off again to the 50s Saturday night. But Sunday brings a whole different change in the forecast. We'll talk about what it is all coming up. And 80s for us here in Charlotte. Small chance of rain heading into Sunday. Mountain areas are more likely to see some rain because that cold front arrives to them first. But again, it's still not going to be a ton. It's not something I'm worried about for complete plan ruining, but certainly something you want to be prepared for if you're going to be out and about. Speaking of rain, here's the cold front that causes it. It is going to be bringing us the opportunity for showers and even an isolated thunderstorm by the second half of Sunday. But again, it's going to be very limited, not widespread at all. Here's a look at futurecast. You can kind of see there heading into Saturday afternoon. We're completely dry, completely quiet, just a few clouds mixing in there up toward the mountains. Now by Sunday morning, we see a few more clouds mixing in for the mountains, foothills down toward the Piedmont, and we'll turn cloudy by the afternoon with that chance for rain moving in. Now this is going to move closer to Charlotte Metro, closer to 2 and 3. I think we'll see a first round of some light rain, and then if this secondary band can hold together, maybe even a few pockets of moderate rain. The big question mark here is, similar to last weekend, how dry the air is going to be near the ground. Right now I'm looking at the low to mid 50s, and unfortunately last weekend when the nor'easter was trying to bring us rain, the low to mid 50s allowed for all of that rain to evaporate before it reached the ground. So the hope here is that that first round, if it doesn't actually reach the ground, will saturate enough for the rain to come later, and then again that second round could bring us some better chances for rain. I think we're being cautiously optimistic to expect about a 1/10 of an inch here across the Piedmont, and maybe closer to a 1/4 of an inch for areas near the foothills in the mountains. So again, it's not much, but at this point we'll take what we can get since we know we're under those 17th. So it's been, what is that, about 6 months or so? Yeah, today's October 17th, so actually 6 months exactly. So a lot of sunshine today, cooler temps of course this morning. It's been a fantastic day. You can see blue skies all around from Lake Norman, Charlotte, Dallas, Monroe. Temps right now in the low to mid 70s, and we'll stay this way heading into tomorrow afternoon. And some of our northern spots, but across the Piedmont, a much different story for Saturday. Temperatures will be a lot warmer, reaching likely the lower 80s. So definitely a change tomorrow with, yes, still nice conditions, but again, dealing with a little bit more warmth. Here's the hourly forecast as we head through the rest of today. You can see temps still peaking again, low to mid 70s before dropping off into the upper 50s overnight. So while we will still be cool heading into tomorrow morning, it again is just not going to be as cold as where we are tonight. High pressure still overhead, but now it's shifted a little bit further south, so we're not getting that same impact from the north to northeasterly wind. Again, a small reason why we're seeing some small changes heading into the day tomorrow. Then of course we're looking at this big cold front coming in as we get closer to Sunday afternoon, finally bringing us some much needed rainfall. Even though it doesn't look like we'll get much accumulation, anything at this point we'll take what we can get as drought conditions continue to expand. More on the timing of that chance for rain on Sunday, and of course a look at how warm we're expected to be tomorrow. That's all coming up.
All right, thank you, Brittany.
Banner Elk, Blowing Rock, we're pretty much high right now. So the next week, 2 weeks, week and a half or so will be really, really nice. And then we're starting to see some small signs there of moderate color in places like Boone near App State. Now, of course, a lot of color here in the mountain communities. Very thankful that at least so far, based on our experts that we have there to talk to, it doesn't look like the drought situation is causing major issues. You might encounter some leaves that are starting to fall off the trees a bit early, but there's still enough that aren't being impacted that the view looks really great. And again, that will be the case as well over toward Asheville and parts there of western North Carolina. Remember, here in Charlotte, our fall colors peak at the early and middle part of November. So typically between about the 5th and the 10th. And I mean, you can see it here from the Beech Mountain Buckeye Lake camera. I know we've used this a lot the past few days, but it shows a very, very nice view of all the mixes, the greens, the yellows, the oranges, and the reds. I also did talk about this last week with one of our fall leaf stories that I did, but if you were trying to see peak color at the best time to do it is actually going to be earlier in the morning, so pretty much earlier than 10:30. Now again, early is relative depending on who you're talking to, but that is because once the sun angle gets too high, sometimes it can beat down on the leaves and allow for the color to be just a little bit more muted. So again, the earlier you can get out and about, so let's say between 6:30 and 10:30, that's going to be the best. If you are heading to the mountains this weekend, it's also the Woolly Worm Festival, a big event there in Banner Elk. Temperatures in the 40s tomorrow morning, 70s in the afternoon, spotty chance for rain overnight into Sunday. And they will see a better chance for rain on Sunday, but it is not going to be widespread by any stretch of the imagination. So I wouldn't anticipate any major issues, just prepare for rain nonetheless. And that's going to be because of this cold front that eventually brings us a small chance of rain too for the Charlotte area. So here's Saturday. Again, we're mostly dry for the majority of the day. Afternoon, a little spurts there possible. Spotty typically means less than 20% chance of rain. So very, very low chance there on Saturday. Sunday morning, we're dry, but right around lunchtime, starting to see a few little spurts and sprinkles there in the mountains. Here in Charlotte, it's closer to 2, 3 o'clock, and it's out of here pretty quickly. And unfortunately, doesn't look like we'll accumulate much. Again, I mentioned this yesterday, and I know Brad was talking about this as well. We're looking at 1/10 of an inch probably, which is cautiously optimistic. Mountains could see a little bit more, but unfortunately we need closer to about 15 inches of rain over the next few months to get out of our drought conditions. And at least in the near term, Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast looks very, very dry. And here it is for you. Again, tonight, of course, the checkers, want to be clear about that, but scientifically that is said to be the perfect day, just based on, I guess, science. I didn't actually do the study myself, but we do have some information on that probably later on in the show, because now I feel like I should bring up that graphic. Temperatures are at 73, as of course Nick and Megan mentioned. Dew points in the upper 40s, feeling very comfortable outside. It is extremely dry and very much feeling like fall. And with fall comes, of course, hockey here in Charlotte. Official forecast check in there for the checkers tonight. It is going to be a partly cloudy evening. Temperatures on the most part will be in the 60s as you're heading in and out of the game. Of course, puck drops at 7 o'clock. We could have a few spots there in the low 70s as you're heading there, but I don't think you're needing a heavy coat as you're going home. No rain issues or anything like that. Of course, the game itself is inside, but still, of course, you're going to have to go out and about to get to your car and inside of the arena. High pressure overhead remains in control across most of the deep south, but again, we're tracking this cold front that's eventually bringing us a chance for rain late Sunday, but it is going to cause some major issues across other portions of the deep south as we get closer to tonight and again tomorrow, as it is going to bring a severe weather risk for all of the state of Arkansas over toward eastern Texas, even creeping into western parts there of Kentucky and Tennessee. Good news is it is going to break apart as it gets closer to the Carolinas, so it will not be an impact for us, but portions there of Ohio River Valley all the way up toward Pennsylvania, we'll see some issues there. Thankfully, we'll be so dry that we're not expecting any severe issues Sunday afternoon. But again, we will see a small chance for rain. We'll break down what that chance is, how much we could see coming up.